my DockCase SSD enclosure to take size 2230 SSDs arrived in the mail today. I've just got my Apple Watch there next to it to give you an idea of the size of this small enclosure. And here it is out of the box, quite small as you can see, about the size of my Apple Watch, in fact, the face of my Apple Watch. I bought the DockCase and SSD enclosure on Amazon for 99 Australian dollars. And I've purchased a Silicone Power NVMe SSD, a 1 terabyte from Umart for $134. So I'll open this up shortly and insert it in this SSD, and hopefully it'll all work. And again, to give you an idea of size, here's the SSD, the 1 terabyte SSD, Silicone Power, out of its box, sitting next to my Apple Watch. So I've now removed the heatsink cover off the back of the SSD enclosure, and you can see the heatsink there on the right on the enclosure. I'll now insert the SSD into the SSD enclosure, just like that. And there's a screw in there that I forgot to undo, but I'll undo that and then I'll screw down the SSD. With great difficulty I managed to get that screw in. It's a little bit fiddly, but that's in there now. All I've got to do is put the case, the heatsink on the back of the case, and Bob's your uncle. So I've now screwed the heatsink backing on the back of the case back onto the enclosure, and I will go inside shortly and plug it into my computer. Okay, so because this is a USB-C to USB-C cable, I've had to plug in a USB-C to USB-A adapter, which you can see there on the right, and I'll now plug that into my iMac, and let's see if this thing works. Is that the right way? Yep. There we go, it's booting up. And got to go that way. So that's booted up, and it gives you all sorts of interesting information about the transfer rates, the temperature, the life left in the SSD, tells you the size of the SSD that I've inserted in the enclosure. It's a 1 terabyte NVMe. You will see a red light's just come on. That's the capacitor charging up, such that if you lose power, this attempts to save any data before the capacitor discharges. So that's charging, as you can see at the moment. It's gone from red to orange. So quite a nifty little gadget. It's, as I said, it's not much bigger than my Apple Watch, and I've got a 1 terabyte SSD in there. I could have bought a 2 terabyte, but that's a little bit more expensive, so I've settled with a 1 terabyte. So yeah, quite a good little gadget.